Okay, just had a little bit of the piece here in a rectangular shape because it's in perspective, and I want to establish at least the height, the length of this, and also getting the angle. So trying to keep all of these parallel, I might put it just a little bit behind this golf ball and give myself this rectangular shape. And again, all these lines being parallel makes it much easier. If they taper in, that'll accentuate the perspective, so I'm just kind of placing that in there. As this is a kind of a machined piece, just taking a look at this top line is going to stay there till it gets to the back, and that's where it has a little bit of a curve, so just lightly placing it in there, and again a slight divot, using the golf terminology to help you there. And this part is also stationary just to start off. The part that comes down in the front of the club, straight, but then it's rounded on this part. And this kind of tapers all the way through, so this is a slight rocking area there. So once you see that piece and can project everything going that direction, it's going to make it a little bit cleaner as far as the depth of this shape, and then connecting it to here. And as it wraps itself around, you can kind of see this edge, and I'd put it in there. You can always slightly take it out, and that you have this repeated shape coming across here. So that's kind of the club face. Every piece that you see, it's painted, it's worn around the edges, so you'll end up with some nice texture there. But this part right here is almost rounded off, so I'm just going to kind of change, just as if you would in Illustrator, and round those widgets off to make that a curved piece. And then if I use the pencil to represent the handle, it's sitting right there. It has two parts, so in order to plot this down, I'm just going to locate a center just by a rectangular shape, kind of cross the diagonal to find the center. And that's the piece, and that's the part that's going to take us straight up there. So I'm just going to sketch it in lightly first, and then try to put a elliptical shape. And that part's going to have the tangent. So once it's illustrated up there, that's the shaft of the club. And it goes up just a little ways, about here. And the same idea, another cylinder, a little more of a minor axis there, getting smaller here. You can see a larger portion of it. Here it gets smaller, and then it just insets itself a little bit for the club itself. So that gives you the entire piece. Now if you go back in with a straight edge to clean that up, you can do that at the same time as you're shading this, forcing the light to be in there. So I'll separate this real quickly. Just going to place it in here. So here's this edge. Here's this edge. I'm just going to go all the way down to it because I'm going to keep it light though, and then just make it a little thicker. And here you can see where this is kind of adapted right there. Wraps itself around as the elliptical part. When it comes down here, it's just going to blend out that way. And here, now there's not a lot of straight lines here, but where there are, I'm just going to put down a straight edge there so I can see it, just to get it started. So relatively easy. Change the angle of the drawing so you can get at it. And since this value of the handle or the shaft is, they'd say, a little darker, I'm just going to heavy that up. And just use the straight edge to help me shade this. There's a little highlight. so that gives you a pretty quick illustration of that. I'm reversing a little bit of the shadow. I want the light to be on the top to match the rest of the items. I'm going to change it from my reference file and just go dark to a light. It's not a pure light value. And then come down here. And again, like I said, change the location on your paper. I'm just kind of getting an edge there. I don't have to do all that. I can come back to it. That's going to give me that piece. So use whatever tricks you have. So this part I'm going to let it come down as the reflected light and get lighter. Same with this top piece, going to represent a little bit of a chipped paint there. So it's kind of the flip version here. Put a little paper underneath so I don't smear my drawing too much. Keep this kind of light. Now mostly I've been having these as spot illustrations where they're outlined, but here I have a little overlap with a golf ball. So I just have to decide which one's going to have the light or the dark. So I'm going to make it go dark behind the ball shape. Take a look. And once you get the overall look to it, you can zoom in, check on some of the closer up detail to it. I'm just trying to get some contrast with the values in here. Try one of these sticks here, see what happens with this. This is just the stump that'll shade this a little bit, goes within the cracks and grooves of the paper. So just trying that out. it is. Again, trying to look at this piece. The highlight can always take out with an eraser. Actually take a straight edge, take an eraser and just hit that